Auburn University is the latest school to announce the closing of its Office of Inclusion and Diversity. That makes Auburn the fifth college in Alabama to close that office after Governor Kay Ivey signed a law banning DEI programs and the teaching of divisive concepts earlier this spring. University officials say the office will close by August 15th, and staff members will be reassigned to other departments or vacant roles.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for Yellowhammer Now. Let's talk a little bit about divisive concepts. A concept itself that confuses and confounds so many simple-minded folks on the American left. And in Alabama, well, AL.com is full of those people, which is why we continue to have the same dumb story told 15 different ways. Even though going down this path again and again and again and failing over and over and over again should be embarrassing to guys like Roy Johnson, but the guy clearly has no shame because he clearly has no pride. You can't embarrass somebody that has no pride in what they actually do. If you read this piece, he, of course, references schoolhouse doors, George Wallace, Martin Luther King Jr., racism, and how terrible straight white men are, because that's pretty much required to work at AL.com at this point. But he embarrasses himself in a lot of different ways here. Let's talk about some of them. One, he suggests that there is no space on campus for anyone who is not a straight white male, which is obviously just an absolute lie. The ban on divisive concepts says basically, we're not going to divide ourselves up by race anymore. Everyone is welcome. That doesn't mean no one's welcome except straight white men. That means everyone's welcome. And that's exactly what we should be shooting for here. And you really have to believe that if Roy Johnson doesn't understand this, then there's never a scenario where he will be happy over anything that's happening in this state or country because he gets paid to not be happy about it. Boo-hoo for him because he's a clown. And the simple fact of the matter is, in his article, well, he's lamenting all these poor students who are going to have to go back to a campus that isn't hyper-race focused officially, because the students and the teachers are still going to do this stuff. He's lamenting this while suggesting that he doesn't know what a divisive concept even is. Well, I'm here to help you, Roy Johnson. So somebody explain these words that I'm about to say to him, because if he Googled what a divisive concept is, he might have learned. There was a story in The Hill about Alabama's legislation, and it says this. Under the legislation, divisive concepts are defined as assigning fault, blame, or bias to any race, religion, gender, or nationality. The bill adds that the concepts such as teaching that a person is inherently responsible for actions committed in the past, or that a person should accept, acknowledge, affirm, or assent to a sense of guilt, complicity, or a need to apologize based on their race, religion, gender, or background are also divisive. And then it would go into about 8 different things that they are talking about in this situation. Roy Johnson, have an adult read this to you, and maybe you'll be okay. And here it is. If you direct or compel a student, employer, or contractor to personally affirm, adopt, or adhere to a divisive concept, require people to attend or participate in any diversity, equity, and inclusion program, or any training, orientation, or coursework that advocates for or requires assent to a divisive concept, make anyone share his or her personal point of view on any divisive concept outside of an academic setting, require students, workers, or contractors to take part in an activity that involves lobbying at the state or local level for legislation related to a divisive concept, penalize or discriminate against a student, employee, or contractor because they refuse to endorse, confess, or otherwise assent to a divisive concept or diversity statement, use race or color as the sole condition for enrolling in a class, training, or orientation, and spend their own funds, that would be state funds, or apply for or accept any grant, a federal funding or private funding, for the purpose of compelling assent to any divisive concept or any other purpose prohibited in this act, provided that such a funding may be provided to student, faculty, or staff organizations or associations. Now, Roy, let me help you out here. Your ignorance is not an excuse. This is all laid out very clearly in the law, and you know this. So please find anything else to write about. I'm begging you, please think about something actually going on in this state that you can have an impact on and write about that, because this, you can have no impact on. You have lost. And to make it as clear as I possibly can, you are a loser